exactly does this mean? Is this now effectively the Reserve Bank banning crypto assets? Remember, the government has maintained it doesn't recognize crypto currency. It recognizes or is in the process of deliberating how to deal with crypto assets. Manisha, given what we've heard from the Reserve Bank today, what does this mean now for the future of cryptocurrencies or crypto assets?
Shereen, even before we go to the future of this, where we stand today is more important to understand, because on a daily basis, on an average, nearly 1,000 cryptocurrencies are traded in the Indian exchanges. You have nearly 100,000 members who are daily trading into these cryptocurrencies, while of course the registered numbers is much higher at around 5 million people who are registered on these exchanges. So what really happens to those accounts, that money being invested and all of those registered people, is something that the RBI of course will have to take a look at. But having said that, reading into RBI statement itself, RBI does not regulate these cryptocurrency exchanges. What RBI is saying is that the entities regulated by RBI shall not deal with or provide services to entities who are dealing into this, and entities who already provide service of course will have to end this relationship, and time space for that of course would be given. But there definitely is one positive into this, Shereen, as well, and that is that RBI does not ignore or shy away from the fact that digital currencies perhaps are the way forward. So there is an interdepartmental group which is looking at the feasibility and guidance or desirability of having a central bank digital currency. A report of that of course would come in by the end of June 2018. But we of course have two ways of looking at it. Most seriously of course is about the people who are already holding accounts in many of these exchanges.
Absolutely. In fact, Manisha, hang in there. Let's go across now and speak with the experts. Joining us today, Vishal Gupta, founder and CEO of SearchTrade.com. Also with us, cyber law advocate NS Nappinai. Ms. Nappinai, let me come to you now and let me quote to you exactly what the Reserve Bank has stated today. It says it has been decided that with immediate effect, entities regulated by the Reserve Bank shall not deal with anybody or provide services to any individual or businesses dealing with or settling virtual currencies. Regulated entities which already provide such services shall exit the relationship within a specified time. A circular in this regard will be issued shortly. What do you make of what the Reserve Bank is saying? Does it mean an effective ban?
I wouldn't call it a ban, Shereen, but it is in effect going to close the doors for a lot of the cryptocurrency exchanges or brokerage platforms, whatever name they may call it by. Because, it is not just banks that the RBI has stopped from dealing with virtual currencies. The use of the word that any entity regulated by the RBI, by its very nature, will also include the payment systems. So, for instance, if you thought you couldn't transfer it from the bank, but you could use probably a credit or debit card, or if you think the credit or debit card is issued by the bank and therefore that is not going to be there, but you can use a payment wallet, all of it is blocked. Because even a private payment wallet is technically regulated by the RBI. So I wouldn't say the RBI as a regulator can or would, get into the issue of banning the, the whole concept of virtual currency. But if you recollect, we had this discussion in February after the budget. So the one window that was left open in the budget speech was trading. So effectively what the RBI has done is it has closed that opportunity also with this circular. So trading in cryptocurrencies is not going to be possible unless they can do it through banking systems, right? So.
Okay. So trading in cryptocurrencies will no longer be possible, given what we've heard from the Reserve Bank, unless it is through the banking system. And Ms. Nappinai, also now we're awaiting the recommendations of the committee that's been set up by the government, which is a budget announcement. So far, we haven't heard anything from them. Given what we've seen, the position that the Reserve Bank has taken, what would you expect?
Is that to me, Shereen?
Yes to you.
Yeah. So now I would not really jump the gun in assuming that the committee is going to follow through in what the RBI has said. The committee has to take into account a lot of things. If you look at this statement itself, it starts off about the support that the RBI also is expressing for the underlying technology. So for instance, if you look at blockchain, they still have to then look at alternatives, and tokenization is very much a part of a blockchain technology, scenario. So if you're going to say no to cryptocurrencies or virtual currencies, if you're still evaluating the process of tokenization, the RBI governor was just heard about the concept of tokenization and how is it going to be valued, etc. So the government would have to take a much broader view on multiple fronts. The first, as I can see it, is are they going to be able to enforce a ban if they take an extreme step?
Sure.
Would it not be better for them to regulate it and keep it under their noses so that innocent investors are not taken for a ride? Because today, what you've done is you have closed banking systems and channels. It could be counterintuitive or counterproductive in a way, because you're moving then these, the scenario to the cash system instead of a cashless system, right? So once you move it to the cash system, then the transparency and the lack of opacity that, the exchanges were giving is taken away.
Sure.
So the government would have to look at much broader issues than just what the RBI may have taken into account when it issued this statement.
Thank you, Mr. Nappinai, for that. Of course, RBI has been saying that they are very positive on the technological innovations, including underlying virtual currencies when it comes to that. But it is only the trading part, the exchanges part, that they clearly seem to be quite not comfortable with. But we also have been getting several queries on Twitter from our viewers. Akshay Narkar, for one, wants to know if this move by the RBI means that one won't be able to buy cryptocurrencies in India as the banks won't support it anymore. Vishal Gupta also is with us. Vishal, let's put this question to you, because I was talking to some other people in the markets itself, and they said with the banks out, are we now being forced, or are they now being forced to dealing into this with cash? Is that the only way left, or is this trade really, coming to an end now?
So, I mean, the problem really here is you've got about 1.5 million people in India who own some kind of virtual currency. So all of these people are going to find some exit route. Now, if government is going to close all official channels, it's probably going to drive the market in the direction the government probably wouldn't want it to go. So I think people who are sitting on assets will try and find alternate means or ways. But that said, whatever decision that has been taken today can only have two possible conclusions. One, either government is moving in the direction of banning cryptocurrencies, or B, it is moving in the direction of regulating it. So 3-month cycle, I hope the government has an alternative plan in terms of, maybe the regulated entities can operate through the banking channel, and the customers, who come through the regulated entities can still indulge in the trade.
Vishal, we have seen certain problems, or rather not problems, because some of the banks already had stopped giving services in case of cryptocurrencies in sense of exchanges. This now, of course, becomes official. So as you said, 1.5 million people in India hold cryptocurrencies in some form or the other. What happens to them? Because sale of cryptocurrency and getting that money back into your banking account also was getting difficult. So what is the stand right now on that?
So I think it's going to create a lot of chaos in the marketplace, and I think a lot of investors are going to be very, very worried about how they're going to manage their investments. Because I mean, most of these investors come from middle class to upper middle class background, salaried people, and put some part of their savings into cryptocurrency related investments. So I mean, it does create a huge ruckus in the market in terms of how these people are going to manage their investments. So I'm hoping that government will take a proactive approach, understand the situation. A marketplace has been created, and you've created a large marketplace with a lot of people who are interested in buying, selling, trading, and investing in these assets. So we have to find some framework.
Yeah, so speaking of that framework, Ms. Nappinai, what happens to these 1.5 million people that Vishal was just talking to us about? As the Reserve Bank has said that they will give you, and I think I heard Mr. Kanuga say that it would be a 3-month period to make that exit. But what do you foresee now for the people who are already trading and invested?
Yes, it's going to be pretty tough on them, because there are also a lot of investments that have come into this marketplace. Now, let's look at what is going to happen. This process of RBI stopping banks from extending help to cryptocurrency exchanges, etc., happened offline a long time back. So the exchanges were driven from one bank to the other. Today, they have to figure out an exit mechanism for a substantial amount of money for a very large investor base. and the time limit may or may not be really that practical. But having said that, if the RBI has said you need to figure out a way, they would necessarily have to do it, failing which they may end up meeting legal consequences. What I see as a possibility is, one, there will be investors who may opt to exit. Two, investors may move to jurisdictions which will allow this as a as a legal form of trading, because the very nature of cryptocurrencies means it's borderless. So whilst RBI may hold the fray for India, there will be investors who may just decide to move to some other jurisdiction. So that is a possibility. And three, which is going to be the biggest worrisome part of it, will be those who decide to wait and watch. Waiting and watching now, I would strongly say, is going to be very, very dangerous. For both the investors as well as the
I know Vishal wants to come in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean,
so you're saying wait and watch is... Yes, Vishal,
the
go ahead.
problem really, Shereen, is no investor can exit, because for somebody to sell something, somebody else has to buy that Bitcoin on an exchange. So, I mean, whoever is buying from the person who's selling is left with the Bitcoin. So, effectively, there is no absolute exit for the entire marketplace.
May not be quite so. I'm sorry. But, the very exchanges give this, considering the RBI's warning, at least, exchanges which have taken note of that, as I have seen, have given this option to investors, saying that if the RBI were to change its stance, we will give you that exit option. So the exit option cannot be that there is no liquidity in the market for a cryptocurrency. The exit option will necessarily have to be that the exchange may have to
somebody
take the
sells it, somebody has to buy it. Is the exchange going to buy all the cryptocurrency for themselves?
Yeah. So these are all solutions that the exchanges will have to necessarily work around, therefore, on that.
Well, there continue to be several unanswered questions, but anyone who has questions here and queries here, we're happy to take them and get Vishal and Ms. Nappinai to answer them here on TV. We will take a break, but we'll keep revisiting this issue as we get more details. But for now, Ms. Nappinai and Vishal, appreciate you joining us on CNBC TV18.